is the Super Dave Special Review.
Super Dave here with episode 40 of Figures, Playsets, and Accessories that may or will work well with MOTU Classics and or Masterverse. And today we're going to look at two action figures, or actually mainly, that's right, one accessory. It's been a while since we've done a highlight on an accessory. We throw them in here and there in a video, but we're going to highlight an accessory today and a figure that's not MOTU. The accessory is not MOTU, but it works well with MOTU, I believe. And I think you're going to like this one. And just to give you a hint, we're going to be looking at, for those that are just interested in the review itself, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive that was highlighted on Hasbro Pulse Con, and that is Kang the Destroyer, complete with his chariot. Now, or his chair, his flying chair, his time-traveling chair. Now, let's see how many of you already it's dawned on you what we're going to do. I bet you, most of you, if you're big-time MOTU fans, you can already guess what this accessory is going to go well with. I bet you anything, many of you can guess it. I can just feel it. I can hear you screaming it out. Starts with a Z. All right, we're going to find out. But we're going to take a quick look at this guy. But mainly, we're going to look at the chariot or the flying chair. And then second, we are going to look at an action figure. And this is from Metal Slug. And I forget if it's 3 or 4. I played the video game, but it was mostly, you know, those souped up Contra looking tanks that had the, you know, awesome spray stuff. But they actually have a line of action figures. I don't know much about the action figures, but this particular guy, 1/12 scale, don't even know his name. We'll find out when we break open the box. He just looked cool to me. Not sure how tall he is. I know he's 1/12 scale, but I think he's on the short side. But I just thought he would look good next to He-Man and some of the other Masters of the Universe. So we'll just say this one we're going to throw in as a bonus because I like him. But come on over here into New Eternia and let's check out somebody's flying chariot, flying chair, and this cool action figure. Come on. First, let's take a look at Kang the Destroyer's accessories, the smaller stuff. He comes with 2 sets of balled up fisted hands, 2.5 sets basically of hands total. And starting off with the balled up fisted hands, he also comes with 2 open palm grabbing style hands, as you can see here. And then he has one of those equipped, as well as a weapon holding hand with trigger finger. And this, take a look at that awesome laser cannon like thing, which is really cool. Really cool. And it comes with an effect piece that will plug into the end there, translucent blue with that purple trim in the middle, like some kind of plasma gun, looking really sharp. He also comes with a little pea shooter here, a little silver handgun with this little pinkish, purplish, more pink little bubble over the top of it. Some of you may know more about these weapons than I do. And then he comes with 3 face plates. He comes with his traditional iconic Kang the Destroyer face. And then he comes with this shy looking face, like he's embarrassed. That's the way it looks to me. And then some kind of lizard style face. All of them have the blue streak down the center of their eyes to their cheek, forehead to their cheek, which is interesting. Not sure what that all means. I have not read the comic of this guy. But like I said, I got him for the chariot, but this is really cool that he comes with 3 face plates. You just kind of unplug it and then plug in whichever one that you desire. And then, of course, the big mother load is his chariot, and it does not come assembled. So I'm going to show you how to assemble it very quickly right now. All right, so to assemble this thing, you first of all take your 2 larger pieces right here, and you're going to just put them together like that. But before you do, notice this little sliding area right here. You have this blue piece that kind of almost glows. It's so bright, which is a cool thing. It almost looks like there's some lights going on, and there's a little cutout on the right side, which corresponds with a cutout right in there, as you see. So the first thing you'll do is just slide that right in there so that cutout fits perfectly. And then you're just going to match that up right here. And that's going to be your first piece. Then you're going to want to put in the back. Now, this is a piece that we're going to probably show you later that we will remove, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But that's just basically clinches that in, as you see there. You just put that in there. And it clinches in place just like so. So everything's come together. And then to hold it in place, you see this seat part has a slide out mechanism to correspond with this slide place here. And you're just going to slide that in place. There, now you have the seat all together. And then to lock it in place even further, you have this area here that's cut out or designed to fit this perfectly like a glove, like a puzzle. And then lastly, you have this piece here, the floor or the feet rest, which is going to plug into that spot, just like so, and voila. And that's all of the chariot, the actual chariot itself. You can see all of that. We're going to get back here vertical in just a minute, but let me just show you the nice stand that it comes with. You just plug this piece into the base, and there is a nice little hole that fits it perfectly right there that it plugs into, and then it's going to be able to rest right on that. We'll show you that in just a moment. All right, and as you have seen in some of the product shots, if you've been following this particular cool set, he can stand, of course, on the base there outside of his chair. I don't want to knock him down, so I'm just kind of rotating him very slowly and carefully here, but just take a look at how cool that looks. It looks like it's just levitating with that stand. Looks really cool. Before we move on to the chair, sitting in the chair, let me just show you this very quickly. And these flush very tightly in there, so it was almost like, does it come out? But it does. But it fits very nice and flush in there. You can't even tell that it's just not a second head sculpt. You really can't. It looks just like there's no gappage. There is a little bit on this one where you can get your nail in there, which that's good. And then the one that looks like he's scared or kind of dazed out there, or like a robot. Man, this guy could almost like be friends with Manny Faces, couldn't he? Kind of cool. But anyway, there you go. That's how you change out the face plates. And there he is, levitating, seated directly in his chair. And it's looking awesome there. His chariot is just dope. Just look at how cool that looks. He is just ready to go. That is so neat. Really neat. But guess what? This is not why we are doing episode 40 of Masters of the Universe accessories or things that will work with MOTU. We're doing it because guess who needs to ride in this chair? Voila! Zodac, the Cosmic Enforcer, now has his awesome chair. His time-traveling, galaxy-flying chair where he can just buzz through the galaxy and the universe in his chair. And this is what I first thought of when I saw the revelation that they were going to be releasing Kang the Destroyer with his flying time-traveling chair. I immediately thought, Zodac! Now, you might look at that and say, boy, he fits in there better than Kang the Destroyer. Well, he's a little taller and bigger. You do have to remove his holster if you're using, the Masterverse version, New Eternia Masterverse Zodac. As you can see, it would be too narrow for this to be wedged in there. But that's not a big deal because that is removable. I'm fortunate enough to have two of these because I have different head sculpts that I can pop on there. So I don't mind that, but it's not that hard to get off and put back on. But then there's another catch. You also really have to remove the backing too. That's a little bit of a downside, but because of his armor, and I'll show you very quickly, because of that armor and the way it V's out back here on the back, it made it look like he was like leaning way forward. But if you remove that, two things are happening here. One, those exact same things that were an obstacle actually fit into the recesses of that and make it look like he actually pops in place. Yes, it actually holds so well that he can actually stay in pretty good without even moving, because his back pieces fit into the grooves of that opening perfectly, and you really, when he's seated, can't tell that that's missing. And this is so easy to slide back in pretty much that if you're doing it for photos or videos, you know, you can have him seated in the chair, and when he stands up, you can do some trick photography and have this back in. Or if they ever put this thing on sale, if it don't sell out, I may get another one and just have one with and without the back piece. But anyway, you see what I'm saying here, but it looks really cool. It just looks so neat for him to be flying around. You know, it's not the Jetsons, but you can see the back of it here. Just looks so neat. You really can't tell the back part is gone, really, but it just looks so neat. Everything else is there. I love that flooring. It would be cool if we could drill a hole in there and figure out a way to put some of those lights and kind of mount, you know, one of the battery packs back here where you can't see it and have that glow under his feet. That would be cool. I can't figure out a way to open that. You know, you might could heat it up and get that somehow off and put some, I don't know, there's just so many cool things that a person could do to customize this. But I just think, I know it doesn't look exactly like Filmation, but hey, what does? In New Eternia, everything's upgraded a little bit, so let's upgrade his chair. You know, you could even, if you want things to match, you could paint those, you know, turquoise buttons there white to match him or whatever, put some red trim on here. But I like it just the way it is. I really do. I just think it's neat. And there you have Zodac flying in his time-traveling chair. It is ready to go all the way into space. He's ready to go and meet the sorceress at Castle Grayskull and all kinds of cool stuff. But doesn't that fit well? I mean, he looks good in that thing. He really does. And let's try the Classics one just for grins and giggles. Alright, so the Classic one does not fit as well as the Masterverse figure because the legs just don't quite bend enough at the thigh up in there to really get him in a completely seated position. That is the benefit, the Masterverse, with that awesome articulation that we get. He doesn't look bad from there up, but just from here down, it's just hard to get those legs on that base. We don't have the double jointed knees. We don't have the flexibility of that, the two joints that could actually shorten the from the knee to the feet, or to the, really I was going to say the shin. But yeah, it's a little bit less of a fit for Classics. But if you really wanted to do it, I'm sure somebody could modify the legs and get it in there better. Maybe even heating some things up. But that's just me working with it, bending it to the point that I didn't want to break something. These figures are getting older, but that is looking awesome too. Cool. And for our next trick here, we do want to take a look at the box here. So before I open him, I just wanted to give you a quick glance. It's really a cool looking, almost like a metal chest. The design of it all the way around with markings in it like scuffs and scars, scarred up metal. And there he is. He's looking cool. And his name is Hyakutaro. I'm not sure how to pronounce any of that, but this 1/12 scale collectible figure that is from the Metal Slug 3 game. Bio anything back here, but you can see it's made by SNK. There you go. And there's some light up effects with his accessories, really cool. And then of course this side, basically the same. And then there's a magnet that will allow you to open up here the door, and when you first open it up, of course you can see his accessories, and the lights are glaring, but right here in this little cubby at the top, there's a little instruction manual. So we've got a little thing to tell us all about Hyakutaro, or Taro, and so let's check that out right quick, and we'll break him out of this cool chest. And now it is time to take a look at our Hyak, that's what I'm going to call him for short, and his accessories. And first of all, he comes with 4 sets of hands. He comes with a set of open palm saluting style hands, some grappling style hands, some weapon holding hands, and then he comes with balled up fisted hands. And I guess you could count the hands that are attached to the base of this effect piece a 5th set of hands, but they are definitely connected, so yeah, you could count them. And he comes with this cool wooden looking base with some metal trim, and it's not real metal, but it does have some weight to it, and it's really cool. You just screw that black stand down inside of that threaded screw area, and then screw the clamp on, and that is metal. And it is a nice sturdy base that he can stand on. You can pose him in different ways. And then he also comes with, as I was showing you, this cool effect piece, and it looks like it's glowing there, but it actually isn't. That's my light at the bottom there, but it does glow, and I'm going to show you how that works here in just a moment. And then he also comes with this little effect piece, which it also glows. It has some batteries in it, and that is really cool, so that glows. And then he comes with a magnet, a little tiny magnet, and that is how you turn on and off the glowing effect pieces that are, almost can't see it with that bright light there, but that one as well as this one, you can turn on and off the glowing features by touching them with this magnet. So that's a really neat invention. And then it comes with this little black slider, and what that's for is you can connect, if you've got more Metal Slug figures that come with these, you can connect them by sliding it underneath and combining those together. But doesn't he just look cool? I mean, yeah, he's pretty short. He's going to have to be more like a dwarf, like in Lord of the Rings, and that's cool. But he definitely fits the motif. I mean, even his shorts, even though they are soft goods, and the brown boots, I still think he kind of looks MOTU looking. He is a dwarf that is a part of Eternia, and he is just cool. You don't get to see his eyes. His face is all covered up with the hair, his beard, but he is just really neat. So now let's go ahead and check out his accessories a little closer, especially the batteries and that kind of thing. He does not come with batteries, so I'll put in the description below the kind of batteries that his devices use, the functions, but let's check him out right now. I will show you in the instruction manual. It shows all that he can do articulation wise. It shows how to connect his devices, heating up those hands so that you can plug them in, and how to equip those devices, and then how to install the base, as I mentioned to you. And see, there's the black piece that connects bases together. Then again, it tells you all the things to look out for as far as his plastic and his joints, just to be careful and heat him up really good. And then on the other side of the instruction manual, and I'm giving little spoilers away here, but it does show you how to adjust his mouth, because yes, he has an articulated mouth. Isn't that cool? That's one of the things that sold me on this figure. And as I said, it does not come with the batteries. It shows you which direction the batteries go. It takes 2 small ones for the little ball and 1 larger button cell battery for the cone shaped effect. And then it tells you how to activate them with the magnet. So it shows you how to put all that in there on the back. And there's the SNK logo there. All right, and then there's some legalese. It says for 15 years and up for this guy. All right, now let's get to the actual function of those features with the glowing effects. And here is his little purplish translucent effect piece, and you have to make sure you open this up carefully. Now, the little light does not come in it. What you do is you actually install the little batteries, and you can read the instructions in the little booklet how to do that, and it shows you which direction. And then that little light piece plugs right down inside of that square mold, And then you just have to line this. This is the hard part. Line these back up. You may want to take a look at which way they go, because otherwise it's kind of hard to get those on there just right. In fact, I'm going to have to look at it because it does have a little arrow. Yep, it does have an arrow. That's cool. So let's see if we can find the arrow. So once you've matched up the arrows, as you can see, it fits back together. And then you simply take the magnet and you touch the back of it. I don't know if you saw it light up, but at the first time you touch it, see it lights up, just a solid light. And if you touch it again with the magnet, it blinks. Yeah, you can see it good there. And then if you touch it again, it pulsates. It's not showing it pulsating on the camera, but in real life it is pulsating. It must be a LED light. It's still showing when it's not camera, you can actually see that it's fading in and out, but it looks like it's still pulsing. Isn't that wild? Because of how the camera reacts to a LED. But you get the point. And then if you touch it again, it goes off. So the magnet activates that. Isn't that neat? That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, now let's go ahead and check out the cone shape one. And so the cone shape one is very similar in its function, but you see the hands are already attached to this one. And you see you put the one larger battery inside of that as it shows you in the instructions. Then you try to push that into the square, that round thing into the square thing, and it kind of wedges in there. This one's a little harder to get in than the other one. Now here's the trick though. You're gonna have to activate this one before you put the cone back on. So watch, before I do that, let me show you that there is a little piece up in here, and you see the little peg right here. And so once you get that lined up where you want it, there's a corresponding peg there. You can see it up in there, right there, little wedged out area. And so same kind of deal. You touch it once, it cuts on. Touch it twice, it blinks. Touch it again, and it fades. And it's not going to show you the fade really, but it does. It's fading in and out. Fading, going dim, and then getting bright. So let me go ahead and put it on solid light, and if you touch it, long hold, touch it, it will turn off. But let me go ahead and put it together for you here so you can see that it is on. It's glowing. So now let's equip it onto our Hyak and see how he looks. I'm gonna warm him up with the hairdryer like it suggests. All right, now let me just tell you, even with heating it up, it is near impossible to get those, and I'm not even sure, matter of fact, I think it's already come out. Yep, it is near impossible to get those little pegs in those hands. Now you've worked with things like Figma, possibly, or SH Figure Arts with the little pegs in the hands. You're worried about breaking them. Well, you heat up the hands, the holes in the hands, and then you try to get the tiny little pegs to go inside of those two hands so you can hold this effect piece. And then once you do that, then you have to work on getting the battery thing in. If it fell out, then turning it on with a magnet, and then lining up the cone pieces together. And by the time you do all that, you have lost your sanctification. That's the old saying, but you have really gotten frustrated. But that's the way that one works. And yeah, I don't think I will ever do that again. I have to use that in a different way. Anyway, there you have that one. There he is holding his other effect piece, and that one's a lot easier because you can use, you know, the free ranged hands. Got his mouth open a little bit. You can see it's glowing. Just take the magnet here, and this one's a little easier to change. You can touch it. Now it's blinking. As you can see there, charging it up. Touch it again, and it's going to fade out and fade back in. And then you can touch it again, and it turns it off. Then touch it again, and it turns it on. Cool beans. Looking awesome. Now let's look at our Hyaks Articulation. All right, bringing our Hyak on in a little closer here. You can see he's saluting there, looking cool, kind of like you saw him in one of his pictures. Just check out that hair. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at him from top to bottom here. As far as the articulation, he's going to be able to sniff up about that far because he sure isn't seeing through that hair. But no, he can look up about that far, which isn't bad for all that hair. But this is the cool thing about it. Let me show you. The hair is articulated. I mean, it's articulated all over the place, like on a ball joint. That piece is, this piece is, so that moves out of the way. Of course, his jaw is articulated, so if you get him to go up about that much, you can see he's looking up pretty good. He's going to be able to look down just slightly, not really a whole lot, because this beard is going to hit it. Now, if you close his mouth, he's going to be able to look down even further. If you open his mouth, he's not going to be able to look, but look how far he can open his mouth. You see his teeth up in there, but he can close his mouth all the way until his teeth are hid, and it seals. So you can actually have it open just a little bit, or you can have him yelling. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Pretty cool, isn't it? I like him. All right, so he's going to be able to look side to side like so. He's going to be able to get pretty good pivot. You know, I think it moves. Yeah, see, you can pivot it that way. Pivot it that way. Pretty decent amount there. He's so small, it's hard to even kind of get him. And I'm looking to see, does that neck have any movement? It doesn't look like it does, and I'm afraid to pop off this head. Oh, it does pop off. So let's look. Yeah, it's like I thought. The head, the neck doesn't really move. It turns, but it doesn't really move like you would expect. But this is a soft chest, kind of like you have with Storm Collectibles. So that's kind of interesting. Didn't know that until just now, because the beard was so much in the way. Let's see if I can get that head back on there. Oh yeah, it pops right back on. But he's very well constructed. You don't feel like it's flimsy, like it's going to fall apart or anything. For a small character, it actually does pretty good. He's going to get better than a T-pose there. Of course, he'll go 360. He does have bicep swivel. And by the way, there is up in here, kind of like with Storm Collectibles, a butterfly type ability, because you can see he can cross over all the way. Have no problem crossing over his chest all the way over there. You can see that. So yeah, there's a butterfly joint up in there, and that means it can also function going back as well, like that. So yeah, it really good. And the bicep swivels there, and then look, he's got double jointed elbows. It's going to go all the way to his head there. You can scratch his fleas. Looks kind of odd there with the elbow. See about this side. He can karate chop. Yeah, looks kind of weird there with the elbows. Cha! 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 He can sneeze too. Look at that huge nose. See his nose? Yeah, he's definitely a dwarf. He's got that look about him. Only deal is he's got blonde hair. You don't see many dwarves. Usually they're black haired, or, you know, kind of gray hair or salt and pepper. But that's all right. He can be a blonde dwarf named Hyak. Friend of human. He's just so cool. All right, looking at his diaphragm here. See, his abs are really good, shaded, well done. He's going to be able to lean to the side, side to side. He's going to be able to go back. Not that much. You see it creates gappage, just like Storm Collectibles. He's going to be able to go forward a decent amount, and there's gappage back there too. He gets the full gamut there. Then he's going to be able to also rotate at the waist. Don't really get there's not really a ball joint much at the waist. You get a little bit of bending back with the waist. See if it'll bend forward. Yeah, it does. It does bend. So I guess it is a ball joint. Just doesn't go side to side, but it does bend forward and backwards a little bit. But you definitely go side to side that way. Just not going to really go that way as love handles hit. He doesn't have very many of them because he's a skinny, scrawny little fella that has chiseled muscles. He'll get all the way splits. He'll kick up that much till his shorts begin to crimp. He don't go back at all. He gets double jointed knees that, yep, he'll get dwarf behind back there. He does have thigh rotation. You see a little musculature on his thigh, but he does have thigh rotation. This is disconnected, even though it's supposed to look like it's connected, but he'll bend down, not quite tiptoes, but that's pretty good for a small leg. Goes up, not much at all. He does get rockers, no peg hole, but look, he even gets a toe hinge or a boot hinge there, the toe. So that's interesting. No drop down method or anything like that. I think I got all of them. Of course, I forgot the hands. And they are on a ball hinge, so you can go vertical or horizontal, either way with them, depending on how you got that peg turned. And just going back to feature that mouth a little bit closer, trying to make sure I got the zoom better. You can kind of move that forward just a little bit to see his mouth is fully closed. There's no eyes up in there. You can have it open just a little bit. You can see his teeth. Or you can open it up all the way and see his tonsils, so to speak. No bottom teeth. Well, yeah, you can see them. They're up in there. You just can't see them very good on the camera. But yeah, he's a cool looking character. All right, let's go ahead and do some comparisons. All right, here is our Hyakutaro. You have him beside the 40th anniversary He-Man with a Classics vintage head. Then you have Masterverse Ram Man. And of course, you can see back there on his chariot is Zodac. I love it. I just love that. And then there's Bobby and Uni from Dungeons and Dragons. See, I've done a review on them back, I can't remember what episode, Figures, Playsets, and Accessories, I do believe, and I highlighted him as he could be a kid. He could be one of the kids, maybe even one of the cousins that came visited in the Filmation series, or I forget what the kid's name was, and hung out with Orko, and Man-at-Arms talked to him and different things, and he had a little bratty attitude. But he didn't have a helmet like that, and he wasn't quite like this, but you could pretend this is a kid in MOTU. And then there's Uni, of course, he could go along with, Loki and Cowl, and, all the different, Orko. But, yeah, I mean, he can be, this guy can definitely be a dwarf, not a kid, because the kid don't have full beard. And there's a kid. So you can see he could still be a man, he's just a dwarf. And that would work if you like that in your MOTU. I do. Some of the other, Metal Slug figures look really cool, but they're not really going to fit in with MOTU. They're going to be more like your street characters or detective characters. The girls look cool. But this guy looked MOTU to me. And I thought he was cool looking, and I thought, yeah, got to use him. So, that's my imagination. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let's take some shots of our chariot for Zodac, and we'll see you next time. Be blessed.